कुंज विहारी राधा जय राधा माधवा कुंज विहारी गोपीजन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजन यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजन यमुना तीरा वनचारी यमुना तीरा वनचारी राधा माधवा बिहारी यमुना तीरा वनचारी यमुना तीरा वनचारी राधा माधवा कुंज विहारी Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram Hare Hare. Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Radha Madan Mohan, Radha Madan Mohan, Radha Madan Mohan, Radhe. Jai Jagannath, Jai Jagannath, Jaya Baladeva, Jaya Subhadra. Nitai Gauranga Jaya, Nitai Gauranga, Nitai Gauranga Jaya, Nitai Gauranga. Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. Vishnupada Paramahamsa Parivrajagacharya Ashtottara Shatas Shri Srimati Divine Grace Abhay Charanaravindra Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Namacharya Haridas Thakur Ki Prem Se Kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shyama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Braj Bhumi वृंदावन धाम की मथुरा धाम की द्वारकापुरी धाम की पुरुषोत्तम क्षेत्र जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की श्री मायापुर नवद्वीप धाम की गंगामयी यमुनामयी की भक्ति देवी तुलसी देवी की समावेत भक्त वृंद की all glories to assembled devotees, all glories to assembled devotees. All glories to assembled devotees, all glories, all glories, all glories to Shri Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshuvunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupah Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guroh Shri Yutapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sagitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha नमः ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे नमो महावदन्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नाम्ने गौरत्पुषे नमः वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे Please all of you repeat. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye नष्टप्रायेष्व भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवत्युत्तम श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नंदनाय च नंदगोपकुमाराय गोविंदाय नमो नमः जय श्री राधा मदन मोहन की श्री श्री जगन्नाथ बलदेव सुभद्रा महारानी की श्री श्री गौर निताय की Welcome all of you to the Srimad Bhagavatam class this morning at Radha Madan Mohan Temple. We are reciting the verse 4th canto, 27th chapter, text number 4. Shayana Vannadamado Mahamana Maharhatalpe Mahishi Bhujopadihi Tameva Viro Manute Param Yatas Tamobhibhuto na nijam param chaya Shayana Unnadamado Mahamana Maharhatalpe Mahishi Bhujopadihi Tameva Viro Manute Param Yatas Tamobhibhuto na nijam param chaya Shayana Unnadamado Mahamana Maharhatalpe Mahishi Bhujopadihi Tameva Viro Manute Param Jatas Tamobhibhuto na nijam param chaya. Yeah. Shayana Vannadamado Mahamana Maharhatalpe Mahishi Bhujopadihi Kameva Viro Manute Param Jatas Tamo Vibhuto na nijam param chaya शयान उन्नतमदो महामना महार्हतल्पे महिषी भुजोपदिः कामेव वीरो मनुते परं यतस् तमो विभूतो न निजं परं च माताजी शयानः lying down unnadamadaha increasingly illusioned mahamanaha advanced in consciousness maha arhatalpe on a valuable bedstead mahishi of the queen bhuja arms upadihi pillow tam her eva certainly viraha the hero manute he considered param the goal of life yataha from which tamaha by ignorance avibhutaha overwhelmed na not nijam his actual self param the supreme personality of godhead cha and yet what. Translation purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada ki. In this way, increasingly overwhelmed by illusion, King Puranjana, although advanced in consciousness, remained always lying down with his head on the pillow of his wife's arms. This he considered woman to be his ultimate life and soul. Becoming thus overwhelmed by the mode of ignorance, he could not understand the meaning of self-realization of his self or of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Human life is meant for self-realization. First of all, one has to realize his own self, which is described in this verse as Nijam. Then he has to understand or realize the Super Soul or Paramatma, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. However, when one becomes too much materially attached, he takes a woman to be everything. This is the basic principle of material attachment. In such a condition, one cannot realize his own self or the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In Srimad Bhagavatam 5.5.2, it is therefore said, Mahat Sevam Dvaramahar Vimuktes Tamodvaram Yoshitam Sangi Sangam. If one associates with Mahatmas or devotees, his path of liberation is opened. But if one becomes too much attached to women or to persons who are also attached to women, that is, attached to women directly or indirectly, he opens the Tamodvaram, the door to darkest region of hellish life. King Puranjana was a great soul, highly intellectual, and possessed of advanced consciousness. But due to his being too much addicted to women, his whole consciousness was covered. In the modern age, the consciousness of people is too much covered by wine, women, and flesh. Consequently, people are completely unable to make any progress in self-realization. The first step of self-realization is to know oneself as spirit soul, apart from the body. In the second stage of self-realization, one comes to know that every soul, every individual living entity is part and parcel of the Supreme Soul Paramatma, or the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita 15.7. Mamaivaamsho jivaloke jivabhutas sanatanaha manashashtani indriyani prakristani karshati. The living entities in this conditioned world are my eternal fragmental parts. Due to conditioned life, they are struggling very hard with six senses, which include the mind. All living entities are part and parcel of the Supreme Lord. Unfortunately, in this present civilization, both men and women are allowed to be attracted to one another from the very beginning of life. And because of this, they are completely unable to come to the platform of self-realization. They do not know that without self-realization, they suffer the greatest loss in the human form of life. Thinking of a woman always within, One's heart is tantamount to lying down with a woman on a valuable bedstead. The heart is the bedstead, and it is the most valuable bedstead. When a man thinks of women and money, he lies down and rests on the arms of his beloved woman or wife. In this way, he overindulges in sex life and thus becomes unfit for self realization. In this series of verses, we have been discussing about how every living being who is wandering in this world, in any body for that matter, whether you are wandering in a male body or a female body or animal body or a bird's body or a demigod's body, all living entities have something which is a common denominator, which is enjoying propensity. Huh? And enjoying, exploiting and enjoying propensity. So, taking that propensity, the living being is roaming in this world. We can see that all of our senses are always running in the uh, direction of searching after enjoyment. I heard an interesting story. Once a boy who went on a hilltop for trekking. It was a jungle area. He took his bow and arrow and he wanted to hunt some animals like rabbits or deers or something like that. And after roaming a lot in the top of the mountain, he couldn't find any. So he met one sage who was sitting there and chanting Hare Krishna, uh, sitting peacefully under the shade of a tree. So the boy asked him, "Sir, it seems you are living here for quite some time, and I don't find any small or big animals here. Huh? And I came for trekking and hunting. You have any idea about it?" The sage said, "Oh, I have, I am sitting here because I already have many animals and birds to be controlled." Huh? He said, "There are two hawks, and there is a vicious snake, and there is a donkey." Huh? And he said, "There are two bears, hmm, and then two rabbits," he said. "All these animals are all around me, and I have to, you know, keep them under control. Therefore, I am sitting very busily here," he said. So the boy was very surprised. You're sitting and you're not doing any work, and you say that you're controlling so many animals and birds. That just doesn't make any sense to me. Huh? So then the sage said, "Sit down, listen to me attentively." And then he told him, "You see, although the eagle flies sky high, from that height altitude, the eagle always is looking for dead bodies. His focus is on a dead corpse, dirty thing." Similarly, modern man has made tremendous advancement in terms of making skyscraper buildings in all the prominent countries and cities of the world, cosmopolitan cities. But his eyes are only on two things, money and woman, called Hiranya and Kashipu. Hiranya means money, Kashipu means woman, attraction. So he said, "My two eyes are like the eagle's eyes." And the nature of the eagle's eye is to always look at impurity, chase after impurity. Therefore, I have to control those eagles, he said. And then he said, "My two hands are like the hands of a bear." You know, bear? Sometimes when you're walking in the forest, a bear will come walking on the opposite side. If the bear sees you, it'll come and catch you, grab you with the two hands and rip you apart. Huh? It's very dangerous animal, huge. Sometimes it walks with two legs also. I mean, like we walk, no, like that he walks also sometimes. Sometimes he walks with four. Huh? So the nature of bear is to capture and attack. Huh? Similarly, he said, "My hands, which are filled with enjoying mentality, have the tendency to capture the opposite sex, and attack the opposite sex for enjoyment." So he said, "This is a very dangerous bear." The bears have that propensity. So in this world, uh, people, when they have a polluted enjoying mentality, then they have, this is one thing that they always aim at. As much as possible, as many members as possible in this world, they try to connect with, and but to different degrees of indulgence with opposite sex people do, beginning with the handshake and ending with abortion, and anything else can happen in between. So he said these two hands are a great curse. They have to be controlled. Therefore, I told you I have two beers, he said. And then he said, my two legs, they are like the two rabbits, he said. The rabbit always want to lay some grasses and lie down very peacefully. It doesn't want to take any effort. It doesn't want to take any initiative at all. Lazy. Similarly, he said that my legs are not ready to go to the temple. My legs are not ready to dance into kirtan. They are very lazy. They just want to relax always, sit down and relax. They don't take any initiative. In material life, we take so much initiative, but in spiritual life, I don't take an initiative. So, similarly, the hands can be used for smoking, or the hands can be used for, worshipping the Lord with a agarbatti, isn't it? So, he said the polluted hands always do wrong things like grabbing and attacking the opposite sex. Or the legs go to the wrong places, like a wine shop or a brothel or whatever. And then he said, my body is like a donkey. Because why he said my body is like a donkey? Because the he donkey chases after the she donkey, and gets a kick on his face. Still, he cannot give up the attachment. So therefore, he compared his whole body to a donkey, which always chases after the opposite sex. And then he said, my tongue is a very vicious tongue like a snake. He said, why? Because the tongue is always gossiping, rumor mongering, fault finding, criticizing, blaspheming, making useless talks and debates and argumentation. So this tongue is like a vicious serpent because it brings so much trouble for us from other living beings. We say something to somebody and we earn their wrath, and we may get beaten up also for what we speak sometimes, if we don't properly speak in this world. So just like a serpent, it shows its vicious hoods and gets beaten up and killed. Similarly, our tongue makes us speak erratic things and dangerous things with which it brings us some dangerous future. So therefore, I told you I have a snake to control also, he said. Actually speaking, the tongue should be used for glorifying the Lord. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, it is said, Bile batorukrama vikramanye nashin batakarana pute narasya jighvasati darduruke vasuta nachopagayat durgaya gatha. It says that the tongue is compared to a frog's tongue if it is not used for glorifying Krishna. Because the frog always like that, he makes sound in the rainy season and attracts the snake to devour him. Similarly, in this world, anybody doesn't glorify the Lord. That tongue is used for talking about sports and movies and sense gratification, everything, and eventually they are led towards death. But those who glorify the Supreme Lord, they keep on speaking about the Lord, singing about the Lord, and they go back to Godhead. And then another verse, another example he gives is, the ear hole of one who does not hear about Krishna is compared to a snake hole, he says. Because the snake hole is the hole in which snake goes inside and resides inside. Similarly, if we don't hear about Krishna, we hear about nonsensical things which later on become like snakes, which reside in our heart and brings great trouble for us. Like that. So, there are things like that mentioned in the Srimad Bhagavatam. So each of these senses can be used for Krishna service, or they can be used for sense gratification, correct? No? So the sage was telling him, my dear boy, you have come up the hill and you are running here and there for hunting the animals without, but I am actually restraining the animals within. So you have not conquered your inner world, you are trying to conquer the outer world, he said. First learn to conquer your inner world, he said. So, one of the first steps in the path of self-realization is this. Human life is meant for self-control. Animal life is meant for sense gratification. Prabhupada writes in many places. And that self-control is called tapasya. Tapasya means your senses are pushing you to do something instinctively and you say no to it. Like, for example, a boy looks at a girl, girl looks at a boy. There is attraction in this world. Huh? But from the Shastras, one knows this attraction is cheating attraction. Why? Because whether it's body of a boy or a girl, the body is made up of three substances only: bile, mucus, and air. Huh? This is a combination of the three things. Huh? Bile means all the liquids in the body, like blood, sweat, stool, urine, and all that. While mucus means all the flesh in the body, like the muscles and bones and all those things, flesh and everything. Bile, mucus, and air. There are many airs in the body. Prana, Vayu, Prana, Apana, Vyana, Udana, Samana. These are the five prominent airs. There are five more airs in the body, totally 10 of them. So the combination, the body is a combination of these substances, bile, mucus, and air. Nothing great about this body. For example, if a mother is tightly embracing the child, the child's body may be sweating in a hot summer. The body may be smelling also bad, but she is not concerned about that bad smelling body. But there is a soul inside the body of the child, which is actually creating the charm. After the soul leaves the body, the child's body won't be any more attractive. Then the body is fed to the fire. Is it not true? In this world, the attraction between opposite sex is also like that. Everybody knows what this body is made up of. It's a horrible substances. At the same time, what makes that attraction possible is the spark of life which is present in that body. When that spark of life leaves, the body has no more attraction. So the Gita teaches right in the beginning, focus your attention on the spark of life. Don't focus on the baggage of this flesh, bones, and all these abominable substances. Because we should learn to see the difference between body and soul, and not see difference between boy and girl. Because both the bodies are made up of Panchamahabhuta only. But inside that body, there is a living spark, which is what is making attractive. Prabhupada was once asking some of his disciples, see, there is a doll standing in the shop, dressed up in some textile shop. And there is a girl walking on the road. Whom would you see? Prabhupada asked the disciples. They felt a little shy to answer the question. But everybody knows the answer. Do you see a moving girl on the road, or do you see a standing doll in the shop? Why do you see a moving girl? Because in that moving body, there is a spirit soul. And in the doll in the shop, there is no spirit soul. That's what makes the difference. So what makes anything at all attractive in this world is the presence of the spirit soul. And when there is an absence of spirit soul, no matter how beautiful the person may be, the person's body is fed to the fire. Even the relatives will feed the body into fire. Nobody will preserve it. You preserve it for 5-6 hours till all the relatives come. Once they come, you just feed into the fire. So in this way, one should contemplatively think about the reality. We are not pessimistic, we are realistic about this fact what we are saying. Look at the world around you. Not one person who took birth in this world is still continuing to live forever. You will always see everybody's body inevitably gets old, diseased, dies, and taken to the graveyard for burial or burning. You will see that. If that is the destination of everybody's body, Narada tells this to Nalakur Manigriv. Deva Sangitam Apyante Krimi Vid Bhasma Sangitam. He says, you can refer this verse, it is 10.10.10 Srimad Bhagavatam. So he is saying that, hey, you foolish people, you have a very handsome body, but you are indulging in sense gratification with the Devis in the water of Mandakini Ganga, which is a very holy place. You are coming to a holy place and you are indulging in sense gratification. And what is this handsome body that you possess? This body is going to turn into three substances only: Krimi, Vit, and Bhasma, is telling. It's going to either become ashes or it's going to be eaten by worms and it will become stool. And you are so much proud of this body. You are putting so many scent and so many type of cosmetics in the body and decorating it very attractively. What is this body? It's a perishable body. And don't become infatuated like this. Wake up to the reality of the soul, is telling, the knowledge of the soul. In this way, the Shastras are shaking us and waking us to the reality of the presence of the soul. That's the first step, Prabhupada says. Then the second step is, after knowing that I am not the body, I am the soul, Then the question comes, why am I the soul wandering in this world? What is the purpose that I have been put here? And I'm going from one body to another, trying to fulfill varieties of desires. In every body, I have some desires. By the time I fulfill them, I get dozen more desires. I go to the second body, third body, fourth body. How long will this tamasha go on? Why am I here? That question comes. Then we come to the second understanding that I am not the body, I am spirit soul, but above the soul, there is a master of the soul. Who is he? A Supreme Lord. Then one researches more and come to the point of understanding he is the Supreme Lord, Krishna, Vishnu. One comes to that understanding. Then one searches after him. And one will eventually find that that Lord has permeated the whole creation. Not only he has created millions of universes and entered them, he has entered every atom. He has entered into the heart of every living being. All 8.4 million species. 14.4 verse Krishna says that Sarvayonishu kaunteya murtaya sambhavanti yaha tasam brahma mahad yonir aham bija pradha pita. He's telling, I am not only father of the human beings. He says, I am father of all creatures, beginning from Brahma down to the ant. Everybody is my child. Krishna says, every jiva is my part and parcel. So, in this way, every jiva is a part and parcel of Krishna. And in every body, there are two souls residing. One is the soul, another one is super soul. Like the two birds sitting in a tree. So, one bird is a fruit-eating bird. Sometimes he eats sweet fruits and enjoys. Other times he eats bitter fruits and suffers. And the other bird is a silent bird watching and smiling maturely. He's a super soul. So in our heart also there is super soul willing to guide us if you are interested. If you are not interested, we only tell the super soul, you don't need to guide me. You just provide me whatever demands I make of you. Right now you give me a bike. You give me a TV. Take me to a movie. Let me enjoy this, let me enjoy that. We keep on asking one by one and he keeps on providing based on our karmic reactions. After millions of lives, we turn to the super soul and we ask, now I am frustrated, I am fed up. Please tell me, why am I here? Who are you? And why am I and you both wandering here? Please tell me what is the purpose. Then the super soul will guide us back home, back to Godhead. So these two steps, he says, understanding the soul-body difference and then understanding the super soul as a master of the soul. This is actual goal of human life. Everything else is secondary. So therefore, what even the kings would do in the Vedic times, they would send their sons who are going to be future kings to the forest. Because when you go to the forest, it's a very serene setting. Holy river is flowing. The birds are chirping. And far away from the madding crowd, you sit under a tree, and then you actually focus on understanding who am I, why, what is this world. So then you go to the rishis and munis, then take shelter of the saintly persons and study the scriptures, and then understand that the senses are not meant to be indulged. The senses are not supposed to be abstained. The senses are supposed to be engaged in Krishna's service. You don't abstain, you don't indulge. Both are artificial. Indulgence in sense gratification leads to frustration and suffering. And abstainment leads to hankering, called as bhoga and tyaga. So the midway is engaging them in Lord's service. Rishikena Rishikesha Sevanam Bhakti Ruchite. So senses engaged in Krishna's service, Rishikena Rishikesha Sevanam, get purified. Mind engaged in chanting the Lord's name gets purified. Intelligence engaged in Shastric study gets calm and purified, and we develop the Viveka Buddhi, discrimination ability. And the ego gets purified, living in the company of other peers, taking instruction from the superior and making an effort to please Guru and please Krishna. Ego gets purified by that. And the soul gets purified by Adhyatma Vidya. It is said, by spiritual knowledge, the soul which is now entangled in this material body, the soul is relieved of that by Adhyatma Vidya. Like that it says. No. So in this way, the purpose of going to the Gurukula, living under the ashrama of, living under the custody of Guru in the ashrama lifestyle, Brahmacharya ashrama, is actually for these purposes. senses, mind, intelligence, ego, soul, everything. Purify the heart by glorifying the Lord, keeping Lord in the center of our lives, and rendering seva. So now, after that, what a prince would do, the prince would return back to father after he becomes generally the king's sons would learn till 12 or 15 years, they learn spiritual knowledge. And after 12, they will start learning martial arts and everything. Huh? Because they have to fight the battle and everything. They have that duty also as a Kshatriya. Similarly, if somebody is a Brahmana, he will study even more deeper scriptures. So if somebody is a Vaishya, then trading, cow protection, farming, they will learn those things also. Vocational training also. And then they come out of the Gurukula, and at a certain age they get married. They move to the next order, which is Grihastha ashram. Now, if somebody has taken brahmachari training, he fondly remembers the Guru, he fondly remembers the scriptures. He will keep quoting many scriptures, even as a Grihastha also. Oh, Shastra say this. My Guru said that. One senior Vaishnava said this. That's the advantage of taking the training, even in family life. Even all of you might have seen your parents and grandparents at home quoting small phrases in vernacular language. You've seen that? Huh? Because they have studied certain things, heard certain things. Sometimes they will quote some snippets from Ramayana, Mahabharata, and all they will tell you, especially those parents and grandparents who got some opportunity to hear the sacred Vedic literature, isn't it? And then in the Grihastha Ashrama, he gets the realization that indulgence in sense gratification cannot make me happy. So husband and wife are supposed to actually uh, go forward in spiritual progress. Now I'll give you 3 examples of great women and 3 examples of bad women. In why am I giving the example of mother and child in the beginning? Here the talk is about husband wife, because you will also see that a woman has 2 relationships, thick relationship. One is with the child, another one is with the husband. You will see that. So, say for example, what happens to uh, noble women? Like for example, let us take one example of um, uh, Suniti, for example. Suniti is a very great example. We'll recite one famous verse that see, this is a famous verse that Suniti tells Dhruva when Dhruva comes crying to her. Is all of you repeat this? Tameva vatsashraya bhritya vatsalam mumukshubhir mrigya padapcha paddhatim ananya bhave nija dharma bhavite manasya bhajasva purusham. She's telling Tam means Krishna, that Lord. She's telling that, oh Vatsa, my dear child, go and take ashraya, take shelter of whom? Bhritya Vatsalam. That Lord Krishna, whose love exceeds the love of 1,000,000 mothers, she's telling. See, I am not able to pacify you, my crying child, because you got hurt by your stepmother. But if you go to meet that Supreme Lord Krishna, his eyes are like lotus petals. By looking at his eyes, you will completely forget all the miseries. And he can shower you love, which I cannot shower. I am only one mother for you. I am not able to pacify you. He can shower you love of 1,000,000 mothers. And that will completely nourish your heart. And also, your ambitions, aspirations in this world will be fulfilled. Even if you have something material ambition, whether you have spiritual ambition or material ambition, go to Lord only, Supreme Lord. Don't go to anybody else. Ananya Bhave, she said. Don't go to Devatas. See, there are material benedictions can be obtained in 2 ways, by going to Krishna and by going to Devatas. But she said, don't go to Devatas, she said. Why? Because the material benedictions given by Devatas can harm you. You will always see that you can get into trouble. So recently I was reading an interesting story in the Mahabharata. One, you all know Bhima's son Gadodgaja, right? This Gadodgaja, he married one Kamakantaka, one demoness. He married. And then they both begot one child. No? His name was Babrik. So this Babrik became a staunch devotee of Lord Shiva. And he personally was trained by Shiva. Just like Gurukula, he joined the Gurukula of Shiva. He learned from Shiva many, many things. And then Shiva was pleased with his performance. And then Shiva told him, okay, I give you benediction of 3 arrows. Take it. It was 3 bond. And Shiva said, these are very, very indefeatable arrows. Very special type of arrows. And then they will always remain in your quiver. And these 3 arrows, the first arrow, whenever you have to fight any battle, the first arrow will mark the target to be destroyed. And the third arrow will destroy the target. And the second arrow will mark the target which should not be destroyed. So it will make sure that that portion is marked so that when destruction happens, that portion will not be destroyed. So these are the 3 arrows he had given. And these are very powerful. Shiva told him and gave him, and the boy became very happy. Babrik went home. So when the Kurukshetra battle was happening, so the boy ran to the mother and said, Mama, I am going to also go to the battle. I am very eager to see the outcome. Who is going to win? Kauravas or Pandavas? And the mom asked him, so on whose paksh are you going to fight? On whose side you are going to fight? He said, whichever side is weak, I will help them. Like that he said. So then when he was running to the battle, Lord Krishna on the way encountered him. He stopped him and said, because he came to know about the 3 arrows. Correct, no? So Krishna was worried that, this fellow should not finish the Pandavas, marking them as a target. But he asked, hey, my dear boy, I heard that you got 3 arrows. How do you know they are actually so powerful? And the boy said, yes, Lord Shiva has given me. Shiva is pleased with me and all that he said. Okay. So can you prove it for me? And then Krishna gave him one challenge. See, look at this tree. There are so many thousands of leaves in this tree. Can you make this arrow capture all the leaves and tie them up together? So then he sent the first arrow, because first arrow marks the target, Said, it went round and round the tree and marked it. And then while doing it, the tree went around the tree. The arrow went around the tree, and then the arrow came. At that time, what Krishna had done, one leaf he plucked and kept it below his feet. Krishna, just to test the power of the arrows. And then after finishing all the leaves go roaming around, then the target went around Krishna's feet, going around. And then Krishna was wondering how this arrow found out. Then Babrik shouted and told Krishna, please lift your feet. It seems that there is some leaf below your feet, stuck. So Krishna understood, this arrow is so powerful that even if the fellow who is sender of the arrow, which is Babrik, even if he doesn't know also, still this target doesn't miss. And then Krishna became a little concerned. Even if I hide Pandavas in the remotest place, this fellow can find them out, mark them and he can finish that. Then Krishna lifted the feet and immediately the arrow picked up that leaf. It went and collected all the leaves together. And then the second arrow tied them up all together, like that. So Krishna understood, yes, these arrows are deadly. Then he asked him, okay, on whose side are you going to fight? So he made up his own mind whimsically. Which side he said? Whichever is weaker side, he said. Krishna thought to himself, now the Pandavas are 7 Akshavinis and Kauravas are 11. But the problem is, now he will help the Pandavas. But in the course of Pandavas defeating Kauravas, they will become weak. Correct, no? Then Babrik will go to which side? Kauravas side. Then they will attack Pandavas and kill more and more. Pandavas will become lesser and lesser. They will become weak. Then he will come to this side. So he will be frequently changing sides, whichever side becomes weak. And then finally, who will remain? Only he will remain. Nobody will remain. Because both sides will go back and forth. Finally, only Babrik will remain. Krishna thought, this foolish boy has made a wrong decision, telling his mother that I will help the weaker side. Actually, he should tell, ideally speaking, I will help the virtuous side. Or I will, like Krishna says, Dharma Rakshati Rakshata. But he made a wrong decision. I'll hit the weaker side. Huh? Why did I tell you this? Because, he comes from a very good line. He is actually Bhima's grandson. At the same time, he has a demoniac connection also. Correct, no? His mother comes from a demoniac connection. So he made a wrong decision. Huh? So what Krishna did, he came in the form of a Brahmana and requested Babrik that, Babrik, please, I want your head in donation, in charity. And Babrik understood. He said, hey, I know Brahman, who you are Krishna only. He understood that. And because you are asking, why will I not give you? I will definitely give you. But I have a request. I actually came enthusiastically to see the conclusion of the battle, who is going to win. So still I'm curious. I'm ready to give the head to you. But I request you to place my head on the top of a mountain from where I can see the whole battle, correct, no? I can watch. So Babrik was watching the whole battle. Krishna allowed him to watch. And after the whole battle was over, Pandavas emerged victorious, you all know that. And amongst the Pandavas, there was some discussion about who actually brought the victory to Pandavas. Which Pandava fought the best and all that. When Krishna heard it, he smiled and told the Pandavas, better you ask Babrik because he was the witness from the top, watching the whole battle. And Pandavas went and asked Babrik, hey Babrik, tell us, who is the cause of the victory amongst us? He said, none of you are the cause, Krishna is the cause, he said. And Babrik requested Krishna that please bless me with your name, which is Shyam. So he's glorified as Katu Shyam, you may be aware also. So the point is why I was telling you this. Sometimes people get benedictions from various devatas, but if you get those material benedictions, they can hurt you or harm you. And you may make, like Ravana got golden Lanka, but he hurt himself with the material benediction. Hiranyakashipu got so much, he became a yakarat for the whole universe, Triloka Adhipati, but he was harming himself with that. Therefore, his mother is telling, Ananya bhave nija dharma bhavite. Nija dharma means the soul's dharma. Situate yourself in soul's dharma, my dear child, which means jiva rasarupa hoy, Krishna Nityadas. Become servant of that Lord with Ananya bhava. Even the mumukshuvir, mrigya padabja padate, even the great mumukshus who want to get moksha, even they go to the same Lord Vishnu. She said, Manasi avastapya bhajasva purusham. Situate yourself firmly in the bhajan of the Supreme Lord. Glorify him. Look at this mother, what a glorious mother Suniti was. She directed the child to go to the lotus feet of Lord Vishnu by approaching saintly persons like Narada. You will see that. She also, even before this verse, she told him, please do not harbor any malice for anybody. She's a good woman, a pure-hearted woman. And also, although her husband did not consider Suniti the favorite, he considered Suruchi the favorite. But still, Suniti did not hate the husband. She did not become angry on the husband. Nor did she become envious of the co-wife, which is Suruchi also. She's telling even the child that you should not harbor any malice towards. Suruchi is sitting. She went and called her and said, you also come with me in the same palanquin. She took her also. That Prabhupada writes, Suniti was the great mother of a great devotee. Prabhupada writes, completely non-envious like that. So such noble mothers, they are also noble wives, you will see. And now what happened, just see. Some of you may not be aware of this fact. You read the Bhagavatam, there is one verse which says, seeing Suniti's behavior, Suruchi also felt ashamed. She went with Suniti and she felt that I was harshly treating her son. Still she is so kind to me. So Suruchi also changed her heart. And you can see Uttanapad, he felt ashamed that due to my attachment to the other queen, Suruchi, I couldn't speak a word. My son is going to forest, small boy. I couldn't stop him. I couldn't because I thought if I stop him, Suruchi will become angry on me. She is my beautiful queen. So I am attached to her. So therefore, I cannot taunt her or I cannot stop Dhruva. So he allowed the 5-year child to go to the forest. Just see. So he felt ashamed for his material attachment. And the result was, Uttanapada also developed a detachment and took vanaprastha and went to forest after that. So by Suruchi is good behavior. So that means one good lady at home, she can actually inspire the husband to walk the righteous path. She can make the children walk the righteous path also. And you can see that um, in this way you will find in the Bhagavatam noble mothers. So Suniti is one such noble mother who went back to Godhead with her son Dhruva also. Um, Now another noble mother is Kayadu. Hmm? You all know Kayadu is whose mother? Huh? Prahlad's mother. Although her husband was a demon, he went and performed severe penances. She cannot correct him. She's in a subordinate position. She didn't criticize the husband and she didn't hate him. She prayed for his welfare, being at a distance. And at that time, when she was pregnant with Prahlad in her womb, you know, the Devatas thought that Asura's son will be Asura. So we should take her to heavenly planets. When the child is born, we will kill. That's what they had planned. Huh? In those days, there was no abortion. Even Devatas never contemplated an abortion, Prabhupada says. They were waiting for the child to be born. But then when they were about to take, Narada came there and said, in the womb of Kayadu resides a great Mahabhagavad devotee. He is not an Asura. Immediately Devatas gave it up. When they were circumambulated her 3 times and then prayed to Prahlad in the womb of that mother, and they went away. And Narada told her, "Oh, mother, do not worry. Be peaceful. Now nobody will come and harm you. Your child is going to be a pure devotee. Nobody can touch him. Nobody can hurt him." He gave her the confidence. And then what is said here, you see, what Kaya did. Rishim paryacharat tatra bhaktya paramaya sati antarvatni swagarbhasya kshema yecha prasutaye. See, here it is said, my mother, being pregnant, desired the safety of her embryo and desired to give birth after her husband's arrival. Thus she stayed at Nardamani's ashrama, where she rendered service unto Nardamani with great devotion. So, Pariyacharat means she rendered service. She must have made some garland, she must have made the arati plate and things like that. Pregnant ladies, many times, up to even the 8th month, you will find some pregnant ladies are able to move around. They are able to do some small services. They are rendering service. So, one Mata was telling that during the COVID, I was giving this Gajendra Moksha, correct? No? Uh, so, and then Ajamila Upakhyan, like that. So, when the husband and wife came, the wife was telling that this child in my womb, he has heard all the kathas, all the Gajendra Moksha and all this, Ajamila, everything she was telling. So, she was telling that I wanted the child to hear the Srimad Bhagavatam. So there are mothers who make the child hear the whole Bhagavad Gita recitation like that. So, because their goal is to see that the child born is a devotee child, correct, no? Similarly, in this child in the womb of Kayadu, in the northern, just like Sita Mata was living in the ashrama of Valmiki, correct, no? The 2 children, Lava Kush, were born. And it was the area where rishis and rishipatnis were living. It was actually a tapovanam, where all the rishis and their wives were living in hermitages. So she lived in such an environment. Sita, Mother Sita also, naturally. Similarly, Kayadu also lived in such an area. And naturally, when Nardamani spoke the Krishna Katha, Prahlad heard, which means she gave a first-class ambience for the child, spiritual ambience for the child to benefit. Correct, no? For the husband, he's a demon, he's not going to change. She prayed for him. And for the child, she gave an ambience where child could grow in devotional service. Just see. Very amazing wife, an amazing mother also. And there is another mother comes to my mind, which is Dasi Putra, who became Narada. Correct, no? That Dasi, when she saw that in the Brahmana's Gurukula, close to her hut, some Bhakti Vedantas came. She immediately told the small boy, "Beta, come, let's go and offer obeisances." She took him, took her son. She offered obeisances and he also offered obeisances, naturally. So, you will see that. See, Narada himself tells his pastime to Vedavyasa, huh? His disciple. He says, I was born as an insignificant son of a maid servant. You see, in some rustic village, simple child, Dasiputra. Dasi means, she has no family. I mean, she doesn't have parents, no husband, no. Um, sometimes somebody who's in a very, very poverty stricken situation, uh, for want of food and survival, sometimes they connect with some men and the child is born. Huh? And then there's no one to protect her. So the child is born in such a village. One day she saw the sadhus came, Vaishnavas came to that village to stay for the Chaturmas period. Huh? So during those 4 months, she is going and offering obeisances along with her son. Look at the small boy; he's just copying the mother. Huh? So such a good mother who had attraction for service of the saintly people. Huh? So she was attending to their needs, which means she must have arranged for their water. She must have swept the place. She must have cooked some, prasad and sent them. Huh? And and she told the boy, you know, you go and deliver this plate of prasad to them. Huh? And the boy also went and, you see, he's going and delivering prasad to the saintly people. And because of this, what happened? She gave a chance for the child to interact with the saintly people. She was not possessive, thinking that, my child will go away with the saints. She didn't fear. Huh? So he's going and serving them. He got to eat the remnants. He became purified in the heart. And eventually he went on to become a great devotee. In the next life, he became Narada. Such a good mother. So in this way, we can give many examples of good mothers and who also are good wives also. Huh? Like you see Devahuti, for example, she was a first class daughter, first class wife, and first class mother also. This can be, huh? So this can, okay, now it's happening. You see, uh, Devahuti is a daughter of the king of the whole world, Swayambhu, Manu, and Shatarupa. Why am I calling her as a first class daughter? I will tell you. One day, she and her friends went to the palace rooftop, and she was playing a game called Amane, we call it. Amane means 3 balls you take, you throw like this, and you catch and you play games. She was playing with her friends in the rooftop. Because she's a princess, daughter of a king, generally they will not go out of the palace. They play in the palace. So she was playing like that. At that time, a Gandharva was flying in the skyway. See, Gandharvas are generally very handsome looking and they have a sweet voice also. Huh? They have curly hair, attractive body. And that fellow was peeping out of the window, watching from the top. He saw this beautiful girl who she's the daughter of the king of the whole world. Huh? So I think he must have been flying little bit low. Otherwise, how he could see the face cut, isn't it? He became attracted. And he peeped out of the window so much that he fell upside down. So, although he was very handsome looking, a sweet singing Gandharva, she didn't fall for him, although he fell for her. Just see. Because she's a very chaste girl. She will not marry anybody who is not arranged by her parents. And later on, that is why I'm telling you, she's the best daughter. She is of marriageable age. Here is a handsome boy coming and giving a proposal. She rejected it. You will find in colleges, if a boy is very handsome, many girls may be attracted to him. But he's a playboy. He goes from one girl to another girl. And he will not marry any of them. So then many girls get cheated nowadays. But Devati was not such a girl. Devati was intelligent. She knew that I don't want to marry a playboy who will cheat me. I'll marry a noble husband who is a man of character and great devotion to Supreme Lord. And when she heard once from Narada Muni the glories of one great sage called Kardama Muni, she became attracted. And she told her mother that, this Kardama is a great sage. If you parents are happy with me marrying him, if there is a match and everything happens, I'll be pleased. Which means girls were allowed to make choices of husband. The Prabhupada says that freedom was there for choosing a husband, but there was no freedom for free mixing in the Vedic times. Why? Because she may choose somebody and the horoscope may not match, isn't it? So the mother told the father, the Shatarupa told Swayambhu Manu. Swayambhu Manu immediately agreed. He said, let's go to the forest and meet the Kardama Muni. Think about it. Here is Kardama Muni living in the forest. He's a Brahmana and he's a mendicant. And here is Devahuti, daughter of the king of the world. See the economic status of both of them. So, but father did not mind because if he's a man of character and devotion, he will take care of my daughter's spiritual life and he will elevate her. He was fully confident. So the parents took her to the forest and asked the sage Kardama, "Oh Kardama, I came to know that you have an intention to marry because just 3 days before that, Kardama got darshan of Lord Vishnu. And he told Lord Vishnu that I will only marry a girl who is fixed by you. And Vishnu was so pleased with Kardama's devotion. He even cried tears which became Bindu Sarovar. He was such a great devotee, Kardama. And Lord told him, 3 days from now, when the king of the world will bring his daughter to you and hand you over. Like that he said, Devahuti. And Kardama was already aware. So Kardama told Swayambhu Manu that, yes, I know that you have brought your daughter. I am especially marrying your daughter. He said, why? She was not fascinated by that Gandharva who was giving her a proposal. She is not after this skin beauty. Skin beauty is only 1 millimeter deep. After that, it's all flesh and bones. She is looking for devotion and character. So that means your daughter is a very noble daughter. But I have one condition, he said. As soon as I give her a son, again I will take sannyas, he said. I'll go away because I am only marrying because my father Brahma wants me to increase the progeny, Praja Utpatti. Therefore, he said I am marrying. But once my duty to my father is over, I want to go back to Godhead. So while entering marriage, he was making an exit plan. And when father was shocked at hearing that, then he looked at Shatarupa and wife and said, he's saying like this, what do you say? And the wife looked at the daughter. Oh, daughter, what do you say? Because you are only going to marry him. What do you say? And the daughter said, go ahead, no problem. And mother looked at, Shatrupa looked at the husband and said, go ahead now. See the emotional circuit. Like he is telling to Swayambhu Manu. Swayambhu Manu is telling Shatrupa. And Shatrupa is telling her daughter, Devahuti. And Devahuti is giving a go ahead to mother. The mother is telling father. Then the Swayambhu Manu is telling him, yes, go ahead now. See how fine the Shastras are, you can see. Nothing was done without consultation and, agreement and everything. So, and she served Kardama in such a noblest of the manner, I can say. One day, actually immediately after marriage, what do you think a husband and wife will do? They have to find out some place, some honeymoon or somewhere they have to go to enjoy. Is it not true? Yeah. You throw away the office work and everything, take 2 weeks leave or something. You go to roam to various places, isn't it? But what do you think Kardama did after marriage? And the mother and father, they gave lot of gold and silver and diamond, everything to the daughter, ornaments and everything. The father embraced the daughter and shed tears of love. He is calling her as Vatsa, oh my child. Ambe is calling, oh mother. Prabhupada says a father can call the child, daughter as Amba also, mother also. So, and then father and mother left her in the forest with the sage and they went away. And immediately the sage again sat, took his bead bag, got into spiritual life, chanting the Lord's names, meditating on Lord Vishnu for a long period of time. And she was continuously serving without any expectation. And on one day, Kardama turned to her and saw that, oh, my dear good wife, your body has become emaciated. You have served me so faithfully. Although you may not have so much transcendental knowledge, I will reveal the Vaikuntha to you. So he revealed the Vaikuntha to her. After that, he asked her, do you have any desire? You have not asked me for anything till date. She said, you promised me that you will give me children, you have not given. That's the only expectation. I don't have anything else, she said. Then he told her, okay, you are a daughter of a prince. You're a daughter of a king of the world. And you lived in very great affluence. Now I am keeping you under the tree in a small hermitage. So if you have to beget children, you need a proper situation, condition, everything. Then he created an aerial mansion with his mystic powers, in which he gave Devahuti 100 servant maids who bathed her with all kinds of scented oils and everything. decorated her, and her emaciated body was no more. She got a very, very, very beautiful body. And Kardamani took her all over the world, different pleasure valleys, gave her 9 daughters and 1 son. The most amazing thing said that is, although he provided his wife the facility for feeling the joy of family life, uh, he was not fallen husband. He was not attracted to those pleasure valleys or to the aerial mansion. He remained himself aloof, it is said, unattached husband. Very amazing it is. It's like Janak Maharaj living in the midst of the palace and not enjoying the opulences of the palace, but remaining as a Janaka Videha. Like that, he lived in a very detached mood. Later on, Devati cried and said, "My dear husband, now you are going to take sannyas after giving me children. I am solidly cheated because I didn't take spiritual advantage of you. I only took material advantage. Now I want to hear spiritual sermons from you, but you're leaving me and going away. Who will train me? Who will teach me?" She asked. See, this is the perfection of regulated sense gratification. If a guru prescribes regulated sense gratification to a couple, yes, you get married, have a bank balance, beget children, and everything. And after 25 years of Grihastha life, when they come to 50, they should develop detachment. And now they should say, now we want to go march ahead in spiritual life with full detachment. And that she developed. And Kardama told her, don't worry, your son is none other than the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. He has come as your son. The same child who was lying in Vatapatra Shai, Krishna, he has become your child now. And he is going to become your guru and he will instruct you. So she is the best daughter, best wife, and best mother also. Mother of the Supreme Lord, we can say that. So uh, now the lecture would be incomplete unless next 5 minutes I'll conclude with saying about 3 bad mothers also, and bad wives also. You know, one example is of Diti. Diti was very cunning and diplomatic. She was very. Uh, there are 2 pastimes in the Srimad Bhagavatam. One pastime where you hear about Diti very faithfully served the husband with sweet words. You know, oh, he has to do Gayatri. She will provide him a mat. She will give him a glass of water. She will cook very, very nice foodstuffs for him. And she would fold her palms and she would speak very softly. She would always bow down to him. And the husband became very, very pleased with her very gentle and noble behavior. And one day he turned to her and said, "Oh, my dear good wife, you are so gentle with me. I am so pleased. Now I can give you whatever you want." And she said, "Yes, now I will ask you now." She said, "My co-wives, Aditi, have so many sons who are demigods, and I don't have any sons. I am feeling terrible envy in my heart without having a child. You didn't give me any child, you have only given them. Now I immediately want seed from you." Seed means the seed for getting a child, like a wife gets a semen from the husband. And it was actually evening time, and the husband was actually sitting in a meditating posture, actually, when she was talking to him. He was about to, he's supposed to perform Gayatri in the evening. It's a twilight time. Oh, but that time she is asking for progeny. He said, "My dear good wife, don't worry, I'll fulfill your desire at the appropriate time. Husband wife should unite only at dark night, not in the daylight. If any husband wife meet during the daylight, then Lord Shiva is going in his bull in the evening along with Parvati, and he is carrying all the ghost spirits and hobgoblins with him. So he will throw one ghost into the womb, especially those who unite in the daylight for them. For the ghost, it is a gift. Why it's a gift? Anybody can say? He gets a human body, he gets. Whereas for the family, it is a curse. Because the ghost has taken birth of a human being, he's going to create trouble for the parents. So he simultaneously is intelligent in doing that. So he told Lord Shiva is wandering in the evening time, we should not do this. But she very much insisted and she was adamant, started crying. Because of her envy for her co-wives, she immediately wanted to prove to her co-wives that I also have a child. So then he also became a weak husband, weakened by her insistence. And then the children who were born were dangerous children. Who were they? 2 great demons, Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu. When people would complain to Diti, "Look at your sons, They are creating havoc in the whole universe. She will say, yeah, that's true. They are a little naughty boys. She didn't understand how much havoc they were creating. So, in this way, she became mother of two dangerous children, and she also became a bad wife who dragged husband into irreligion. You understand now? Adharmic behavior, like that. Uh, So another bad wife example, I'll give you example of Sunitha. See, Suniti is very good. Bhutanapat's wife. Sunitha is actually daughter of death, god of death. So the daughter generally gets the father's quality and the son gets the mother's quality, generally. Shastra say that. Prabhupada writes that in purports. So she got the quality of her father, Sunita. So, which means she's daughter of god of death. So therefore she begot a son called Vena. And the Vena was a very dangerous boy. Even as a small boy, he would pick up other children and throw them in the ocean. He was very dangerous. He would beat up and he would even kill people also, even as a small boy. And people could not control him at all. But her husband was a very, very great soul. His name is Anga Maharaj. Anga Maharaj. Anga Maharaj was a pure devotee of Krishna. So he got frustrated with Vena's behavior, and despite his repeated correction, the boy was not changing. So the father had to detach from the home and run away to forest, and he went back to Godhead, Anga Maharaj. But she was too lenient with the boy, especially a lady who is very possessive of the husband. He also becomes possessive of the child also. And possessive parents become extremely permissive or lenient with their children. They will say, beta, we suffered. You should have, 50 chappals. You should have 100 dresses. We will pamper you like anything and we will send you to hell. Like that. Too much of lenience. So that because of the children get spoiled because of that. Like one parent was telling me, I have put my child in a international school. And we are paying some 14 lakhs per year. Like that, they are spending so much money. There are people because they think our child is studying in the best school. Whose child? Our child. So yes, you put, and then the child lives a very lavish life, and tomorrow he's going to demand like anything. The more sense gratification you provide, it's never satisfying. Dushpurena analena cha, Krishna says. Yeah. Actually, you see, my father was a millionaire. One day I lost my small pencil. I told my father, give me a new one. He said, no, you show me the old one. Only then I said, you're a millionaire. You can give me a whole box of pencils. He said, no, we should not waste lots of money. We can give charity. Why to waste money? So, actually, the raising of parents matters a lot, how they raise their children. So, this Diti actually produced, this Sunitha, she produced a dangerous child like Vena. She never corrected him. Later on, one more thing happened. Anga Maharaj ran away to forest, correct, no? Then the Brahmanas actually came and told the ministers, that ministers, let us make Vena the king. And the Brahmanas said, minister said, no, he is a demon. He cannot be at the top. He will ruin the whole kingdom. Then you know what the Brahmanas did? They went and asked the mother, Sunita. Her mother, the ministers are all unhappy in making him king. But we want a king. Otherwise, thieves are taking over. They are looting people and everything. So the mother said, okay, make him the king. Why? Because whose son? My son. See, she made him the king. The result was that fellow created so much havoc that Brahmana said, like that they said he died after that. By the dissatisfaction of the Brahmanas, he died, that Vena. So, she couldn't do good to the husband, she couldn't do good to the son also. You can see that. Similarly, I told you about Suruchi. Suruchi was a co-wife of Suniti. Correct, no? She was a very beautiful lady. She knew that because I am very beautiful, I can keep my husband under my clutches, under my control. He will always, be behind me. So such women, what they do, they will demand the husband, get me the best of the outfits to wear, get me the best of the jewelry, get me the best of foods, give me a big house, a big car, keep me very happy and circumambulate me, that's all. Don't go to circumambulate the Lord. You be all around me only. Whenever I'm asking, you are simply my slave. Huh? They keep them under their control. Such a beautiful woman. They become extremely possessive of the husband. Husband is like a money-making machine for them. Huh? Such woman. So she kept the husband Uttanapada under control. She is telling Dhruva, you cannot sit on your father's lap. Uttanapada is looking at Dhruva, looking at her, keeping quiet. Why? Keeping quiet because afraid. Although she is a beautiful woman, she may shout also. Huh? He is afraid because he has become slave of such a woman. So he became attached husband, you see. Huh? So, and she wanted her son to become the king, you see. Uh, so she didn't even check whether my son has qualification or not. She didn't check it. Huh? So those who are demanding wives, those are such women. Actually, there are women who openly say that goal of my life is to have more and more money and comforts. That's all. They don't like to go to God. They don't like to read spiritual books. If husband becomes a little serious in spiritual life, they will say, "Hey, no, not required. Don't go." I remember one congregation man. He became initiated devotee, but his wife cooks meat at home. Huh? And his sons also eat meat, sons, daughters. Everybody eats meat at home. Only he's the only person who's a devotee. Huh? But he's a very tolerant devotee, extremely. Even wife shouts, he'll be chanting Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Very, because he's a peaceful man, wife can shout and children are unruly. But he became a very wonderful devotee. Huh? But he tolerated the home till his Vanaprastha stage. After Vanaprastha, he came, most part of the day he'll be in the temple rendering service. Huh? He was like that. So, now sometimes a person gets extremely demanding wife like that. But before telling about such wives, I told you about 3 good women also. Huh? So the woman should not become angry on me. Huh? First, I told you about good women. You remember those examples? What examples I gave? Huh? You forgot? Huh? Suniti, Kayadu, and Devahuti. Correct, no? And also Narada's mother, the Dasi. I told you about noble mothers. Huh? Such women are called Sri Ratnam. Huh? They are like diamond women, they are called. Huh? Diamond-like woman. But there are also other type of women, to whom, like I told you about Suruchi, I was telling you. I was telling you about Diti, I was telling you. Correct, no? Sunita, Diti, and all these women, he became attached, husband becomes attached, and his spiritual life program is completely ruined by such a woman. Here we find this fellow, our, what's his name? Puranjan. Huh? It says here that, see here, in this way, increasingly overwhelmed by illusion, King Puranjan, although advanced in consciousness, remained always lying down with his head on the pillow of his wife's arms. In this way, he considered woman to be his ultimate life and soul. Becoming thus overwhelmed by the mode of ignorance, he could not understand the meaning of self-realization of his self or of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Actually, woman cannot be condemned.